poppin' YouTube? It's Sydney Island here. That's Island with the Y, not an S. And as you can tell by the title, this video is all about Venus in Leo. And by the way, which lighting is better, this lighting or this lighting? Like, I'm trying to decide. Like, I want to do something different. So let's just stick with this lighting. Okay, so the timestamps for each sign will be in the description box below if you want to go straight to just one specific sign. So let's jump right into it. So Venus in Aries with a Venus in Leo. Okay, so Leo people love people with big personalities and they love people who have a lot of confidence. And Aries people typically provide this. And so Venus in Leo really has a strong attraction towards Venus in Aries and vice versa. Okay, they're both attracted to the fact that they both are, you know, spontaneous, risk-taking, adventurous type of people. They're both attracted to the fact that they both exude confidence, right? They have that similar air about them. And I have my notes right here, so I'm just going to be looking at it. Okay, so in this relationship, though, Aries sometimes can have a little bit of a wandering eye. And not all Venus and Aries people, but it's kind of in their nature. And I'm still, like, trying to figure out of the lighting, like, what works for me. Like, I don't know what works. But please put in the comment section, like, what freaking looks best. Because I really do want y'all input, okay? Leo's pride gets a little bit bruised in this relationship because Venus and Aries can have a wandering eye. And like I said, not all Venus and Aries will. It also depends on your sun sign. Aries has a wandering eye and it brings out the lion, the roaring lion in Leo. Leo is gonna, you know, make a big fuss and a big scene because Venus and Leo people are very dramatic when it comes to love. And I forgot to mention that the Venus, God, I forgot to mention in the beginning of the video what Venus represents. But you know what? I'm just going to make a whole Venus, what the Venus sign represents video. But your Venus is pretty much who you are in romance and relationships, okay? So maybe I'll just say that before every sign. Who knows, you know, nothing in life is perfect. Just flow with me, okay? Both of these signs are risk takers when it comes to love, okay? They both are willing to confess their love. They're both willing to take risks. They're both willing to approach a person when they have an attraction towards them. So the love and the romance between these two can be very exciting. You know, they go on a lot of adventures together. They both love to crack jokes and have fun, and they're both very childlike lovers, and they both feel very special. Like Venus in Aries makes Venus in Leo feel special, and if you have a Venus in Leo, you know how important it is to feel special in a relationship. And Venus in Aries, they make you feel special because, you know, they're willing to have fun with you, and they like to show you off and stuff like that, you know, because they're proud of you, because you're very charming and you're very attractive to people. And so Venus and Aries, they like to flaunt you and show you off, which is everything you ever want. But the thing is that Venus in Leo is fixed. Leo is a fixed sign for Venus to be in, and Aries is a cardinal sign. They're both fire signs, but they're two different fire signs. So their approach to love is a little bit different. Leo is more settled fire, and Aries is more like, you know, quick fire. You know, that fire that just bursts out, you know, into this fresh new energy. I just want my lighting to be good. I want the best of my face to come out, okay? I ain't playing. So, you know, sometimes Aries might seize. The thing is that they're both actually stubborn. Let me not lie. Like, they're both actually very stubborn. Like, if you have a Venus in Leo or Aries, you're both stubborn. So sometimes they both there will be friction and they might clash a little bit just because they're both stubborn and neither one of them are willing to, like, see things from the other person's perspective, because they both can be very self-centered. In all honesty, this could really work. They have a lot in common, but they do have a lot of differences. And if they can just sit down and have a very understanding, mature conversation, if that's possible with these two very childlike signs, if they can both, you know, act mature, because it's going to be hard for both of y'all, then y'all can, you know, if y'all can actually sit down and have a mature conversation and try to understand what the other prefers in a relationship, then this could work. Okay, so let's move on to Venus in Taurus with a Venus in Leo. Okay, so I started by saying that both of these signs, they're very similar in the sense that they both are fixed signs, and they both have high standards when it comes to relationships, and they both want the finer things in life, and they want to, you know, wine and dine in lavish places, and they both want, you know, to you know, feel safe and secure in relationships. So they're very, very similar in that way. I also see this as a very sexual relationship. You know, Venus in Taurus and Venus in Leo both need sex when it comes to romance and relationships. Love and sex goes hand in hand, and I mentioned this in the Venus in Leo video before, love and sex goes hand in hand for both of these signs. They both have a high libido and they both need to have sex with the person that they love. So they both won't have an issue with sex, okay? They both have a very strong sex drive and they both are very direct when it comes to sex, so that their love language and their sex language is very simple, is very direct, and is very straightforward. So they kind of have like this relationship that they complement each other. So this could really work. And these two both also have a thing with material possessions, and they both have a thing with just being successful in life and looking good. And also on top of that, they both love physical affection. They both are very physically affectionate when it comes to romance. But the downside is that they may fight over money, because Leo is a very lavish spender. They like to spend their money on all types of crazy stuff because they feel like, I don't care where my money goes. Like, more money is going to come into my bank account anyway, so I'm just going to spend money, like whatever. But Venus in Taurus is a little bit more frugal. They like to save their money. They're a little bit more practical with their money. So they will kind of see Venus in Leo as being, childish. Venus in Leo will see Taurus as kind of selfish. Like, why are you always holding your money? Like, why are you always so stingy? The word is stingy. But I really do see this sign as working because they both have a thing with loyalty when it comes to relationships. They both need loyalty and they both need security. They have very similar needs, because they're both fixed. They're very similar. So this pair really, really could work. There are a few, little things that, may make each other irritated by the other, and they both might get angry with the other, but these two I can see is lasting for a very, very long time because neither one of them will let go of a relationship really quickly. Okay, so let's move on to Venus in Gemini. Okay, so I like Venus in Gemini with Venus in Leo. This, to me, is a good pair. I have a Venus in Gemini, by the way. And so looking this up and just researching on Venus in Leo, I feel that I really like the way that they move in relationships. Like, I like it. But there's some things, because I'm a Taurus sun, there's some things that I'm not really with, So let's start off with the downside of this pair. So Venus in Leo can see Venus and Gemini as being they'll see Venus Gemini as being frivolous and too flirtatious and too changeable, because Venus and Leo may be adventurous in relationships, but they also are fixed, and Gemini is not fixed. Okay, Gemini is mutable. Venus and Leo sees Venus and Gemini as being superficial. They see them as being too flirtatious, and so Venus and Leo gets jealous because, like I said, Venus and Leo wants this love and they want this appreciation and they want all this attention, and they can't stand that Venus and Gemini is giving all this attention to everybody, because Venus and Gemini wants variety. Venus and Gemini wants to talk to everybody. They want to get to know everybody. They want to give attention to a little bit of everything because they need variety in their environment. They need variety in their relationships. They need constant stimulation, from different directions. And this makes Venus and Leo feel very insecure, and it makes Venus and Leo feel just jealous. Like, why are you talking to her? You should be talking to me, and having a Venus in Gemini, I can see how I would get defensive, because I'm like, okay, this is just the way that I do things. And if you don't like it, you don't have to be with me. You know what I'm saying? It's not that I'm trying to entertain other people. It's just that I need that stimulation, and you need to just let me be free. Everything's not about you. That's the kind of vibe that Venus and Gemini would think. Like, everything's not about you. Like, just because I'm talking to A, B, C, and D, it doesn't mean that I don't care about you. You know what I'm saying? And I don't need to give all of my attention and all of my energy to you just because that's what you think I should do. So that's where there can be a little bit of issues between the two. But on the bright side is these signs, this pair, like, they both love to have fun, and they both love excitement, and they both love adventure. And there's this huge energy of humor and laughter. They both love to crack jokes. They both are very childlike, and they both will play a lot. Like, this pair is like two big kids being in a relationship, pretty much. So that's why I like this pair, because having a Venus and Gemini, I love to have fun. I love to goof off. Like, I can't be in a relationship if he is boring. Like, I need fun. I need for us to be constantly talking and stimulating each other's minds and doing different things. I need a taste of everything. And Venus and Leo wants that. Venus and Leo will allow me to do that because they want adventure too. Just as long as y'all don't get too clingy and possessive, which Venus and Leo has a tendency to get, then we good. We could, but like, because Venus and Gemini don't like clingy. They don't like, the whole please just love me. Like, they don't like that. They're just like, okay, let's just go have fun, because it's a very light Venus and Gemini is a very light placement for Venus to be in. You know, they don't take relationships too seriously, and they don't want to be with somebody that takes relationships too seriously, and they don't want their freedom to be stifled. Okay, so just don't stifle a Venus and Gemini's freedom, and then this can work. This definitely could work. Y'all will have a lot of fun together. Okay, so let's move on to Venus in Cancer, and I probably will end up having to make a part 2 because my camera does not hold enough freaking space on this phone. Okay, so anyways, Venus in Cancer with a Venus in Leo. Well, y'all both love children. Okay, let's start off with that. Y'all both love children because the 5th house rules Leo, and the 5th house is all about children, love affairs, fun, pleasure, all that kind of stuff. And Cancer rules the womb. Okay, so they're all about children and you know, babies and that kind of thing. So you both love children, and you both will share fond memories of your childhood and stuff like that. You both will share that together. Cancers are very sensitive to their partner's needs, but Venus and Leo may not be as sensitive. So they may crush Venus and Cancer spirit sometimes by just being too focused on themselves and too self-centered, and sometimes they don't give the physical affection and the love and the attention that Venus and Cancer may want. But Venus and Cancer, they will give Venus and Leo all that physical affection that they want. So sometimes it can feel a little bit one-sided. Venus and Cancer, they love home and safety and security. Venus and Leo, they care about these things, but they also need to be out and about and meet new people and be social. Leo has a more social craving than Venus and Cancer does. Both of these signs in Venus really want deep love. They both need love. Love is huge to both of these signs equally. And Venus and Leo, they love really big. They do big displays of affection. Venus and Cancer will really like that because they really need to feel special. So I can see them clashing in the sense that Venus and Cancer wants to be at home too much. And Venus and Leo thinks that that's boring, and they just want to get out. Like, they just want to meet new people. So just as long as you, Venus and Cancer, you let Leo get the social craving and the social interaction that they need, just as long as you let them get that, then they're good. Like, y'all can deal. And just as long as you, Venus and Leo, you know, let your Venus and Cancer open up about how they feel and make them feel comfortable, make them feel secure. Don't be judging them, you know, don't be making them feel like crap about their feelings, because Venus and Cancer is very sensitive, especially when it comes to love. So, you know, be gentle and be careful with Venus and Cancer's feelings. But this, I definitely see this as being able to work out. So Venus in Leo and Venus in Leo. Wow. Leo and Leo. Okay. So the thing is with this is that y'all both can be very competitive with each other. Okay. And this could be great. Like, this could be fun. It's like, I'm going to beat you at this. Ha ha ha. Like little kids. But it can also go sour if y'all get too competitive and too serious about the competition. Then there can be a problem, because then it's not fun anymore. You're just competing. You know what I mean? And y'all both need fun. Having Leo energy, you both need to have fun. So just keep it fun. You both crave attention, and you both crave the spotlight. And so it's kind of like, who's going to give up first? Who's going to give the love? Like, they both like, no, like, everything's about me. And they both are a little too prideful. So they may clash, you know, and they're both very stubborn. So this is a kind of pair that's like, people, you may think that since they're the same sign, they may work better with each other, but no, like, they're gonna clash because they're too similar, and they need to complement each other. You need to have some contrast, and they're too similar, so it's like, it's overpowering. It's just too much of the same thing. The thing is, though, is that they're both very passionate, and they both are risk takers in love, so they do have a lot in common in that sense. And they both will make great parents because they both love children, you know, like for me, like, meeting a lot of people who have Leo energy, they make great parents. A lot of Leo guys, I see them as being great fathers, you know, very, like, they love to provide. So anybody who has a Venus in Leo love to provide. So both of these signs will be great providers for each other and for their children. I'm going to end it there and make part 2 to Venus and all the other signs, just because I know that my phone likes to cut off at a certain point. So I'm going to go ahead and make part 2, and both part 1 and part 2 will be posted to this channel. So go ahead and watch part 2 for Venus and all the other signs. Okay, so like, comment, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe to my second channel, Island Styling Incorporated. That is my beauty channel, my fashion channel, my channel that's all about the physical body. Okay, so peace out, y'all. I hope that y'all enjoyed this video.